Alright, welcome back. Let's get into this. So we want to have a duocast setup in our scenes here. And so what I mean by that is if you are, for example, in the pre-game, before the game starts, you might want to introduce your co-caster and show the world their face, for example, if they are on a camera, have a little chit chat about the team squaring off, what's on stake for both of them, and all these kind of things you can have. So, and I set it up here in a way that we have an overlay, which is just our single cast setup from before. This is from our normal streaming setup. And now I modified it that we have also a duo pregame overlay here, in which we can have our co-caster and the co-caster's camera. Currently, this is a lo-fi girl sitting here, but we could have a camera source there instead, or like the camera source of your co-caster. And of course, you can change the name of your co-caster in Soothsayer, so that will update, and you can give them their social on Twitter and whatnot. So all of that works, of course. So let's get into it and see how we can do this. As always, we're gonna build everything from scratch. So this is the advanced casting setup I created, which just demonstrates all the different things we want to do. So we're gonna now go back to our basic casting setup, which is the one you have probably used. And let's go into the pre-game scene and let's start fiddling around. But before we do so, remember you always want to back up. If you make any larger changes, you want to back up your scene collection. So we're just going to duplicate this here. We're going to call it advanced streaming. And I think I'm going to put a 2 here because I think I already have advanced streaming. Or maybe I had not the underscore in there. Whatever. Oh, I should call it advanced casting anyways. Okay. Here we go. Advanced casting 2. Okay, so this is just a copy now from our basic streaming setup. I'm gonna get rid of the tournament logo here for a while so that we can just see a little bit more and better what's going on. So, first of all, we need a second overlay, right? So this is, remember, this is the pregame overlay. This is just an HTML file on your computer in the Soothsayer resources folder. So if we check out this folder, let me bring it up real quick. You see that we have many more HTML files in here which we have not used yet. So for example, there's the caster duo frame HTML, and that is the one we're going to use here. So we add a new web source browser. I'm calling it duocast pregame, because maybe there are other duocast scenes. And I'm gonna name everything for the duocast. I'm gonna start it with duocast so that I can quickly identify these files if I need to get rid of them later if I am solo casting. You can also decide that you make a copy of your full streaming setup and then make the changes for a duocast setup. It has its merits, having them both in different scenes collections, or when you with one click you have all the changes applied which you want to apply. On the other side, now you have to maintain 2 scene collections, so if you add something else like a ticker or so, you now have to add them to both scene collections, and that might be a little bit of a hassle if you plan to do a lot more changes afterwards. So I'm gonna select here the caster duo frame HTML. Open that. I put in the width and the height 1920 and 1080 because that's the resolution of the monitor. Refresh browser when scene becomes active, and hit OK. Now you see it's already here, but it is showing the old overlay behind it. So I definitely want to lock this. I want to put the tournament logo on top of it. And now I'm gonna go and put the pre-game overlay on top of a duocast pregame. So now it looks like before. So this is my single caster setup, And now if I have a co-cast, I can go into this. And here we have our co-caster setup. So now you might have noticed that I still have a Heroes game in here, and actually that is kind of bad. I don't even want to have this in here. I don't know why it is here. I must have messed up something in creating our normal streaming setup. But in the pre-game, I don't think you want to have that source in your scene. So let's get rid of it. Okay, so now how do I get my co-caster's video feed into this box, right? So that depends a little bit on how you are actually getting the video feed from your co-caster. So it might be over Discord, it might be over, I don't know, Zoom or Skype, or maybe they don't have a camera and you just want to show their logo or something else. So, or maybe they are sitting in the same room as you and they just attach a second camera to your computer. I don't know how you're gonna do it. So I'm just going to show you one way of how it could be done, which is fairly general. So we're going to add a new source, of course, and this is going to be, it's not a display capture, it's not a game capture, because a game capture is relating to games. It's a window capture, right? So it could be any window on your computer. And I'm going to call this duocast. Again, I start everything with duocast here, so that I can find these things quickly if I want to get rid of them. Just call it cam, duocast cam. Alright, so now you have to select a window on your computer. And so you would select here, for example, Discord, if the video feed is coming through Discord. You would pick Skype if the video feed is coming through Skype. Or wherever your video feed is coming from, you select that window. And in this case, I'm going to select my Firefox, which is probably not where your video feed is coming from, but you get the idea. Okay, we are not going to need to capture the cursor, because it's a video feed, right? And capture mode automatic, that's totally fine. I did not have any problems with that so far. You probably want to match the window title must match, so that makes sure that that's the most restrictive. But if you have problems with that, you can go with match title or match title, otherwise find window of same type, or find window of same executable, which is even less restrictive. So for now, I'm going to go with the most restrictive because it works, and if it works, you should use it. Okay, so here is our window. It's a little bit smaller than my full scale resolution because my current browser is not in full screen. So now we're gonna press down the Alt key and crop this to our actual video feed. So it would be something like this here, and from the bottom left it would be something like this. So now I have a full video feed in the source. So now let's actually put it in here and make sure that it sits in this frame. So for that we need to rearrange things so that the duocast cam source is behind the duocast pregame. Alright? And depending on where the video source is and how large it is, depending on whether your co-caster is using a widescreen camera or not. All of this is a little bit different, but you want to just place this roughly here so that it is just nice and in frame. You can lock it afterwards, and now you have your co-caster camera set up. And again, this window source could be anything else, wherever you are getting your video feed from. Let me quickly go into my notes here to see if I have forgotten something crucial. No, I think I talked about all these things. Again, we have it here set up that with a single click we can go into single cast, and that's fine. If you are nervous about that part, you can duplicate the scene, but as I said before, this might lead to you having to maintain two different scene collections. So I think it's better to have them both in one, and just go quickly before you go live before you even start your stream, that you quickly check that all your scenes are in the mode you want them to be, which is either solo casting or together with a co-caster. And that's about that. So now you know how to get your co-caster on the screen. See you in the next episode.